This public meltdown that has been happening with Drake since the fight with Kendrick has only gotten worse with each passing moment as we watch the dust settle and see how Drake is handling the entire situation, while also embarrassing himself. Songs like the parody of Drake, "Hey There Delilah," were meticulous enough for Drake. He's not just trying to regain some footing in the rap game right now by releasing more music and trying to garner any goodwill he can from people, but also at that same moment, Drake went out and openly criticized Kendrick Lamar again, but this time not musically, but through an Instagram post showing Drake at what seems to be his son Adonis's soccer game. Bondre only uses these photos in an attempt to undo the damage from the narratives Kendrick tried to convey in his tracks, also capturing the aftermath. Don't worry about a trick, ponies, and this is what has everyone talking right now because considering everything that's happening, this is undoubtedly a direct shot at Kendrick. The fact that the title is written better than some of the quotes in Drake's actual tracks, like Difficult Part 6, is absolutely hilarious, and overall, just by playing the title in the game right now, it only makes Kendrick's arguments look stronger, as they are further validated the longer we sit with them and simply see Drake losing control and doing everything he said he would when we look at Drake's first full attempt since Difficult Part 6 to push Kendrick Lamar. Now we see what asterisks he's trying to put on this loss to make it look better. It actually becomes more revealing of the absolute state of delusion Drake is trapped in, but somehow we have to give him some credit because where are Drake's attempts to save his name and image with his two most recent features have only backfired. What Drake is doing here is at least achieving something for himself, I suppose, because it has sparked a discussion around Drake and Kendrick that is making people question Lamar to some extent. This also helps Drake's fans cope and imagine that he is actually the winner of this feud. This is because in the post, Drake still maintains that he is above Kendrick by calling himself a GOAT, but much more. Essentially, Drake says that goats don't worry about one-trick ponies. And again, somehow Drake's legend has better writing than any absolute disaster we've gotten from him since Family Matters, because this has a double meaning. Drake isn't just saying this phrase to describe Kendrick, but he's referring to a classic movie, which is quite interesting, as he referenced Whitney Houston's movie, The Bodyguard, Inflections, a line he surely regrets, and which became the basis of how personally Kendrick took everything. As he bluntly stated in Meet the Grams, here he's referring to the 1980 movie One Trick Pony. And if you didn't think this was intentional on Drake's part, the fact that this movie stars another musician, Paul Simon, should convince you. Between Drake name-dropping two movies starring very popular artists from past decades, there is definitely some kind of trend or thread he is trying to weave and maintain. It's more revealing and confirms that Drake is just trying to aggravate Kendrick again in some form here. The actual movie One Trick Pony follows a story that, in Drake's mind, aligns with everything he has been trying to convey about Kendrick through his tracks. By just reading the synopsis of this movie, we can see exactly what Drake was doing with this legend. It says that Jonah is an aging rock star trying to put together a new album in front of an indifferent record label and a talentless producer, while also struggling to save his marriage. And I won't lie, this is clever on Drake's part, but at the same time, I think this shows that while it may seem like Drake is trying to start a second round with Kendrick by criticizing him once again in front of his millions of followers, I think we'll soon find out what is really happening. The thing is, Drake is now implementing a new strategy to salvage his career that doesn't actually involve trying to get into another musical duel with Kendrick, as we all know how badly that went. Instead, he's trying to get ahead of the bigger damage control that will be necessary when the Kendrick Lamar and Friends pop-up concert happens in Los Angeles soon, and when his highly anticipated album drops. Drake knows at this point that any success Kendrick Lamar sees, whether the music is about him or not, will only damage his reputation. As we watch Kendrick receive more and more accolades, it will prove his claims that the concept of the Big Three is non-existent are seen as fact by more people, especially when it comes to MCs who deliver the complete artistic package beyond the optics of exaggerated streams and sales. Drake has at least realized that he will have to be much more tactical to come out of what will essentially be a second wave of negativity towards him from any position of strength. He is doing this now by starting to weave a narrative around Kendrick that aims to diminish his success and legitimacy as an artist, portraying him as a lost individual whose career is no longer in the successful state it once was, and who is now scrambling to regain any kind of relevance as his personal life falls apart. While Drake tries to convey this narrative to his fans who are willing to believe almost anything he says, he calls Kendrick a one-trick pony because he can only gain relevance by mentioning Drake's name, and that his music is also one-dimensional. However, when you really consider what these claims are saying and see how they compare to Kendrick, you'll see that out of the 5 tracks Kendrick released throughout this this feud, he has never shown as much artistic range at once, from a booming Metro Club banger to a bold Alchemist beat and a DJ Mustard loop that channels all his greatness and West Coast representation. Kendrick has proven that he truly is the best MC, as he can link his skills across every corner of the rap world. Moreover, while this has sparked a debate, Drake's supporters argue that because Drake can sing and hop onto so many different waves of music, he is more versatile. I think it's important to remember that versatility isn't just about how many different styles of music you can dip into, but also about the range of music you can operate in at a high level. When you compare this, you see how Drake is criticized for following trends and copying musical styles without any creativity, while Kendrick is able to stretch himself and his skills on tracks as popular as Travis Scott's Goosebumps, but also as bold and abstract as Danny Brown's experimental masterpiece Atrocity Exhibition. Don't get me wrong, Drake's versatility is incredible for what it is, but it's easy to lose sight of how superficial it becomes beyond just jumping on a trend or dipping his toes into something. In contrast, Kendrick can go all in and be his best self, from decade-defining hits to the most intense and deep cuts. To bring this full circle, while Drake is trying to prepare for the wave of attacks that will come his way when Kendrick Lamar rolls out what's next in his rap career, these tactics are smart in that he's trying to create a safety net for himself and begin to redirect how people perceive Kendrick's victory. Despite Drake's efforts to paint himself as the GOAT and undermine Kendrick, it's clear that Kendrick's ability to excel across a wide spectrum of music, both popular and avant-garde, demonstrates a deeper, more substantial versatility. Drake's strategy is an attempt to reshape the narrative in his favor, knowing that Kendrick's upcoming successes, regardless of whether they involve direct references to Drake, will further cement Kendrick's position in the eyes of critics and fans alike. Drake is trying to plant a seed that will make Kendrick Lamar's next album seem desperate, implying that Kendrick needed to involve Drake to achieve success beyond his fan base. This comes at a time when Drake's fans, who have shown they'll shift any narrative to cope with what has been a down year for him, might be influenced enough to sway public opinion. Drake is attempting to discredit Kendrick Lamar by pushing the narrative that Kendrick is desperate and attention-hungry, using this feud for promotion. However, people have already rejected this idea, and as Drake continues to stay on the offensive, it only makes him look worse. Beyond the layers of his social media post, which is already pathetic when considering this is a rap feud that people want settled with a microphone, all of this only validates Kendrick's claims. What doesn't Drake understand? If you're Drake, it's best to hide away for a while, let this pass, and try to come back stronger. These antics show that he hasn't moved on from this issue and is still trying to alter a score that's already written in the books. This will only destroy everything he stands for. So, let me know what you think about this latest moment in what I'm calling the endless downfall of Drake. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. Subscribe if you love Kendrick Lamar. See you soon, my legend.